Welcome back to another episode of Showtime College Football. It's time for Week 0. This episode is brought to you by CFB Team Fantasy, where you pick teams, not players. What are we talking about today, Chase?
Today, we have finally made it to football, boys. We've made it. We've made it to
Less
football
than 1 week.
season. There was like a tweet, I'm sure all of you have seen it. Until the Super Bowl, we have football every week.
Yeah.
It's honestly the best time of the
I
year.
don't think we go like 3 days without football.
Like, especially now because the MAC plays like all weekday games.
I guess earlier in the year they spaced it out. But like October, it gets
It's
nuts.
like Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah,
Thursday.
every day
action.
basically.
But anyways, we're able to predict games now.
Yeah, we can
can't-
do game
We
predictions.
can't just like speak vaguely about like middle of July. We have games to
No more lollygagging.
predict.
No more
Week
messing
0.
around. No more horsing around.
Week 0. I don't care if they're boring games. I'm watching all of them. Week 0 predictions, and we're also going to highlight the most impactful games for each conference this season, and then your hot takes as always.
Yes, can't wait to get back into it. So let's talk about our Week 0 predictions for this week. So we've got a game in Ireland. Georgia Tech, Florida State.
Dublin.
Montana State at New Mexico. SMU at Nevada. And Delaware State at Hawaii.
Dang.
So we got 4 games. These are the biggest games of the week.
Well,
all 4.
It's the only 4. So.
Yeah, but I love Week 0 because it's not. Some people I've seen recently on social media. It's a minority, but some people don't like Week 0. I don't really understand why they're like it's just dumb games. I'm like, bro, it is the first football I've seen in 9 months. I cannot wait for Week 0.
I don't get it because it's just because some people schedule their games earlier. So like this is like Florida State's. It's one of their 12 games.
Yeah, it's not like it's a preseason game that doesn't count. This counts just as much
It's
as
an
any other game.
ACC game.
This is an ACC conference game.
Yes, exactly.
Against a decent opponent. We'll get
Yes.
into that. That's not a bad game. The last few years, the Ireland game has been, it's been some.
We had Northwestern and
Nebraska.
That was a good one, actually.
That was Northwestern's only win that year. They beat
How
Nebraska.
about that? There we go.
Yeah, they didn't win a game in North America that year.
There we go.
But yeah, last year was Notre Dame Navy, and Notre Dame trounced them by 60 or something like that.
The Irish in Ireland.
We haven't had crazy good games over there in Ireland, and this year I think we might actually have a good one. I'm really excited.
I think so too. Chase, he's been talking to me about it more. He's starting to buy into Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
It's not a huge thing. There's not really a big train. It's like a 1-cart train.
Yeah,
But
it's a very small train.
He is on it for sure.
I'm not on it I'm not in like the steam engine. I'm in kind of the caboose. I'm stuttering. I have like 1 foot on the train.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I'm not like full on like okay, Georgia Tech is going to the playoff.
Yeah.
They're no Virginia Tech, but I think Georgia Tech is far overlooked. I'm not calling them to win this game. We're going to get to our predictions, but Georgia Tech is an 11-point underdog in Ireland.
Each week, we're going to do, there's only 4 this week, but we're going to do 5 games where we pick against the spread over, under, and we're going to keep track, see who comes out on top end of the season. Something fun for you guys to tune into.
Because it's one thing just to pick the wins and losses.
But we're going to try to pick
against the spread.
Pick against
a little
the
bit
spread.
harder to do.
Yes.
And if you guys don't know what that means, that just means Georgia Tech and Florida State. Florida State is favored by 11 points. Will Florida State be
10.5.
Oh, 10.5 did it change?
Yes.
Okay.
ESPN's 10.5.
Okay. Will it be over or under the spread?
If I say over and Florida State wins by 11, then I win.
Yep.
But then if Chase says 9 and it's over, then he loses.
Yeah.
So 1 point. So 10.5 is the line. But let's dive into this game because it's definitely the biggest game this week. I want us to dive a little deeper in on Georgia Tech. I know they do kind of have an elite quarterback halfback duo. King had like almost 3,000 passing yards and like almost 1,000 rushing yards.
Right.
So he almost had 4,000 total, and then the running back had over 1,000.
Yeah.
I know the receivers aren't the best, but tell us about the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech.
Well, Georgia Tech does not recruit like they used to. When we were kids, Georgia Tech was almost a superpower. Like they were very, 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 very good.
It's true.
Like when we were, they went to several BCS bowl games. I think they went to several Orange Bowls. They were a pretty much a chalk top 25 team for 2001 to 2011.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech was a good school, and it's weird to see that Georgia Tech has been off for so long that people are like, "What, Georgia Tech?" It's kind of like Virginia Tech. I mean, like what, Georgia Tech being good? You're crazy. They're the bottom of the barrel. I'm like, dude, like 7 years ago, Georgia Tech was a fantastic. I wouldn't say like they were not up echelon tier, but they were an upper tier Power 5 team.
Up there,
like they were a great team. They had many good years.
Like growing up on like my PS2, like NCAA 06, 08, like they were always like a top 25 team on there.
No, they were a solid. Like you could always count on them being 9+ wins.
Yeah.
They went to several Orange Bowls, had a lot of great players, and I would love for them to be good again. It's kind of one of those teams where it's like, dang, I wish they could be good again. So, anyways,
they went 4-8 last year, right?
They went 7-6.
They did.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get that. Let's get that. I'll let you read it.
I thought 20. I must have read the wrong thing.
Very good. So, anyways, last season, Georgia Tech no one really was watching what they did last year. They went 7-6, won a bowl game against UCF. Now, I hope bowl games matter more. UCF didn't exactly bring the full talent to that game, but still, Georgia Tech went there, beat UCF by 2 scores, and they also had quite a few quality wins last season.
They had their own Miami Miracle where
we obviously
we all know what happened.
Yeah, they finished 5-3 in ACC play, so it wasn't like they beat a bunch of crappy teams in the non-conference. They went 5-3 in the ACC.
Yes.
So they had one of the craziest seasons of last year. Let me just read you guys their wins and losses.
Okay.
So they lost to Bowling Green, they lost to Boston College, and they had these weird losses. They lost to Louisville by only 4, but then they went out. They won at Miami, a ranked Miami, won at a ranked North Carolina, and they went and beat Syracuse. Was not a bad team. They had a bunch of these, I would say upper half of the ACC.
Syracuse will be a top team in the ACC this year.
They lost to Ole Miss, lost to Louisville by only 5 in that opener, lost to Clemson, lost to Georgia, held it close to Georgia. I feel like they always make it close to Georgia.
Final? I remember it being close.
31-23.
Yeah.
Georgia won. And
there was a lot of games Georgia snuck by at the very end.
That's what Kirby Smart does, man. I now will never think of it the same because
you can't count them out, bro.
All of last year, I was like, look at Georgia. Like, look how weak they are.
Like the Auburn game. Auburn was beating them.
I'll be honest. I wasn't a Georgia hater, but I was a non-believer.
They are a fourth quarter team.
They are a fourth quarter team. And I think Kirby Smart does that on purpose. I think he doesn't go full power. He doesn't blow people out 77-0 like Alabama, Nick Saban always did.
Yeah.
Which, your style of play, he usually gets it done. It'll be against Ball State, and it's 14-7 at half. Consistently. He'll play MAC teams, it'll be really close. And then the final score will be 56-20. Yeah. It's fine. But, Kirby Smart, I think, likes to get through the depth, likes to play a lot of players, which, if you can win the game, fine by me. If you can go 12-0.
He went back-to-back. So
yeah, so then again, I don't know exactly how that. Yeah, anyways, but they went 7-6 last year. Mm-hmm. Had a mediocre season, but better than people thought. People had them last in the ACC. When you think of Georgia Tech right now, you might think bottom tier. Yeah. I'd say they finished 5-3 in the ACC. I would say upper tier ACC.
Oh, for sure.
That being said, they are playing the best team in the ACC. Fairly consensus. A lot of people have Miami, some Clemson, but Florida State going into this year is the consensus.
Yeah.
Preseason
most
best
people
team.
Yeah, most people have them.
Yeah, and so this is a good game. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. This is not a normal week 0 has usually had some pretty average games, a lot of big spreads. But this game could be close.
And the thing with FSU is there's a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
They lost Keon Coleman and Travis Hunter. I mean, don't get me wrong. DJ's a good quarterback.
You mean Jordan Travis.
You're good. What'd I say?
Travis Hunter.
Oh, Jordan Travis. My bad.
Right,
Mixed them up. But DJ, he was a good quarterback at Oregon State, but towards the end of the season, they kind of just started handing the ball off.
Yeah.
Every time.
I mean, they did have a fantastic running back, Martinez.
Yeah, he's at Miami now, which is we'll get into
that. A little scary.
We'll get into that next week.
Really
they have
good.
like a 3-headed monster in Miami.
I'm
like,
the more you look at Miami, it's a little scary.
I can't stand Miami. But I'm starting to be like, okay, they actually are really good.
Yeah, they're
like the last couple weeks when I've been really reading into previews of the season. I'm like, okay, Miami's good.
Yeah, Miami's always been loaded. They've always had the recruiting.
Yeah.
But this year it seems a little bit different because they have the recruiting, but it seems more of a balanced roster. Mm-hmm. They can pull 5 stars. They've pulled a 5-star every year, or at least several 4-stars. Cristobal is a whiz at recruiting. He's never been able to pull anything together. But this year,
recruiter.
It seems like that there is something brewing. Now, does he choke it out? I don't know.
It's because it's tough. Yeah. Miami, that we can get into that next week.
Yeah, we'll get into that next week.
But Florida State, it's they just have a lot of questions because obviously
questions.
Chase feels very strongly they should have been in the playoff, which...
Well, I wasn't...
You were pretty upset.
I was not happy about it, but I was also not Team Florida State. Yeah. I was still Alabama versus Michigan is going to be a fantastic game.
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, if you guys listened to the podcast at that point, I said... I'm excited for this playoff, I'll be honest, but I think Florida State should have been...
Arguably one of the best playoffs, if not the
probably
best.
was the best playoff.
Probably every game was close.
Yeah, except for the championship.
I mean, Washington did make it kind of a game. We're getting off topic.
Anyways.
But Florida State, a lot of people are like, they have like a whole new team, like all these new transfers. It was the same way last year. Pretty much the exact same way, and look what it turned into. If they stayed healthy, top 3 team.
A lot of transfer heavy team.
Yeah.
They were returning a lot more production last year. Mm-hmm. Like last year, they were returning 3rd most in production, but they still had a lot of transfers that were going to be starting. Mm-hmm. And so there were still, in terms of starters, they did have a lot of new starters last year.
Yeah.
And so coming into this year, the same thing. I think Florida State. I mean, I have them, 9, 10 in most of my polls. How I'm thinking 8, 9, 10, 11 range. And you have them there as well. You have them 6 or 7.
I think I had them at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, as of right now, my preseason pick for the ACC is Florida State. Not super crazy on that one, just being kind of default. They look like they're the best team in the ACC once again. I trust a lot in Mike Norvell.
Yeah, and I remember, like during the spring game, DJ didn't look the best.
Yeah.
To where it was like they started going towards the run game, but under Norvell, they haven't had a season where 2 people go over 500 rushing yards. Last year was just 1 that he just barely broke it. To where it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of question marks with Florida State, but Norvell's done it before. Like, he gets these transfers and it turns into something to where, I can't count out Florida State. But, I mean, I know we're talking about this one game, but I think overall, Florida State, a lot of their games this season, especially in the ACC, they won't be favored by a lot. I think most of them, they'll be favored under 10, like single-digit games.
It's probably about what this is going to be.
I think a lot of these Florida State games are going to come down to, like, a last drive.
Right.
To where, I don't know. I think Georgia Tech might surprise people in Dublin. I think it could be...
So the spread's 10.5. Are you taking the under?
I'm taking the under.
You're taking the under?
I think Georgia Tech will keep it close. I think Florida State will win. I think they'll pull it out.
Yeah.
Just because I think they're a more experienced team, more talent. But I think it'll be like... It'll definitely be a one-possession game.
Yeah. And before I give my pick, I've talked about this before. I love college football. One of the reasons I love college football is because there's no preseason. We're walking into this game straight out of fall camp.
Yes.
It's August 24th, and these guys have had a month of fall camp.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they had a break before that. I mean, I don't know what you do during the summer exactly. They lift, they do a few things, but they can't practice as a team, really, from spring ball until August. So... You think about it, these guys had 3 weeks of practice together, and now they're going to play a real game that affects their whole season. Like there's no warm up. There's no warm up. So you're walking into this game.
Like
all these question marks.
You can scrimmage your team all you want, but you're scrimmaging the same people every time. Yeah. This is a whole new team.
Yeah,
whole new team.
And you're watching. This is unique from almost any sport. You have no preseason. Even college basketball, you have a lot of really, really easy warm up games.
Yeah.
College football. Yes, sometimes, but very, very, very little on a lower scale.
I think more and more people are starting to realize, I guess this is a conference game, but I think a lot of people are realizing, especially these bigger teams, they have to have like a quality win in their first 3 games, like their non-conference games. I guess they're 4 non-conference games now, to like make an impact on the poll.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that you always look at with the conference, when you go to the end of the year, the Pac-12 did a great job of this last year. This hurt the SEC this year. Hurt the SEC last year, is you look at the conference as a whole, what's their out-of-conference record?
Yeah.
Now, this is a conference game, so it's a little bit different, but still on the same points here. Those games, you look at Arizona losing to Mississippi State last year. You're like, oh, man, like, why'd they have to lose that out-of-conference game? But you look at those times where you look at Colorado beating TCU. I know, whatever. But it was big. It was a big win for the conference. Like, our lower-tier teams can beat out-of-conference foes.
Yeah.
So the SEC lost like 5 games to the ACC last year.
Yeah.
That really helped the ACC. Now, Florida State still didn't get in, but overall the ACC was given more legitimacy just because of that.
That's true.
So
that's where I think yeah. I mean SEC still has their like week 10 like mid-November against like the Citadel or something like that, but
Citadel.
Like overall I think a lot of teams are realizing like the way you start the season makes a huge impact.
It does. I mean, Florida State last year beat LSU week 1. That was huge.
Yeah.
That was big. That was like all of a sudden Florida State was 2 and 3.
And now we got LSU USC.
LSU USC.
I think that'll be.
We going?
I'm down, honestly.
We should go.
I think that game, we're jumping all over the place, but I think that game will be a huge preview for both teams.
Huge question marks for those teams.
I know it's week 1. I don't care. I know it's week 1, but like. Those two, a lot of people were mad at us. We didn't put USC in the top 30. They were like right there.
Yeah, they were close.
LSU's towards the bottom, but it's like you guys lost your star Heisman quarterback. You lost your Heisman quarterback.
And you still went 8-5 with the Heisman quarterback.
Yeah.
Same as LSU. He had a Heisman quarterback, and now a little bit better on the better side of that. LSU went 10-4, 9-4, beat Wisconsin in their bowl game, but still you lost your main piece. That was both those teams. It was evident that they were being carried by a star player.
Mm-hmm. I'm like USC, is Miller Moss going to be able to do what he needs to?
If he is that guy,
I know you have Zachariah Branch, but like if you don't have a quarterback to give him the ball, like.
If he's that guy, then great. I would love to put USC top third. I have no problem with that. Anyway, so that's week 1. Sorry.
Chase, give us over or under. I'll lock it in.
I think the preseason invites a lot of miscues, turnovers, and so I think for that reason, I think if this game is week 10, FSU covers, meaning they beat them by more than 10.5.
So you got under 2.
I'm taking under. I'm joining with you. I think Georgia Tech takes the under. You can zoom up in this for a real under. So I think either Georgia Tech wins or FSU wins by basically less than 10. By a touchdown or a couple points.
Imagine if Georgia Tech started off the season with a win.
That'd be absurd if Georgia Tech won that game.
College football would be flipped upside down week 0.
It would. Week 0, we have never seen much happen. That would be the most action we've ever seen week 0.
Yeah.
So, be my guest, Georgia Tech. Pull it off.
I would love
fantastic.
That. Now, let's jump to Montana State, New Mexico. This is a big game because I believe it's the fourth ever time an FCS team is favored by double digits against an FBS team. I mean, don't get me wrong, New Mexico is pretty much borderline FCS.
They're at the bottom of the barrel right now.
They're very bottom of the barrel. I saw something today that had them going 0-12.
Yeah, even worse than their rival New Mexico State, who New Mexico State's kind of come out of the bottom of the barrel. Yeah, they were there for a long time.
They're kind of coming up.
They went to the Conference USA Championship last year. Yeah. They've had 2 10-win seasons.
Who they beat last year?
They beat Auburn at home by 20 or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Or they beat Auburn
at Auburn.
At Auburn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
what's the spread on that one? 10.5.
So this was 10.5. Montana is favored by 10.5. Montana State favored by 10.5. Now Montana State, as many of you may know, they are an FCS powerhouse. The Midwest is the SEC.
It's the 2 Idahos and the Montanas.
And North Dakota.
And the 2 Dakotas. Yeah, it's crazy.
So all the FCS action goes down up there. I mean, it's big deal.
Wait, I think we're going to go to a FCS playoff game this year because there's a good chance it'll be at Idaho or Idaho State. So we're going to drive up.
That would be so fun.
Support the Bengals.
We have a dome, so it's in the winter it's
still
warm.
Support the Bengals, Idaho State Bengals, baby.
Yeah, we should definitely go to an FCS tournament game. That would be so awesome.
That'd be so fun, bro.
Yeah, they've been having that tournament for a long time. Anyways, so we're talking about a very good FCS team. So do you have Montana State covering and beating New Mexico by more than 10.5?
That's tough. I don't know because it's like, I don't know. It's
an
FCS team.
New Mexico does have. I do have a tie to New Mexico now. New Mexico just received their new coach, Bronco Mendenhall.
That's right.
Who was a fantastic and fairly successful BYU football head coach from 2006 to 2015.
He was there for a while, yeah, and then he went to Virginia.
Failed horribly.
He was the downfall of Virginia football.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there was really much there to begin with, but he really sunk them down there.
Bronco Mendenhall was one of the greatest defensive minds of the time, had a top 5 defense 3 or 4 years in a row at BYU.
Yeah.
But yet he could never recruit very highly. No. Now, he was a very good developer. We had some great teams. I mean, BYU had several top 15 finishes in that time. He developed
Kyle Van Noy.
Yeah, Kyle Van Noy, Ziggy Ansah, a lot of Fred Warner. Fred Warner's a little bit after, but he was the one who got him.
I mean, Fred Warner is still insane right now.
Yeah, so I mean, Bronco Mendenhall is the guy who got those people on the map. So, anyways, I do have a tie to New Mexico, but I don't know. No, it's still New Mexico. It's a first-year head coach. I don't know how much you don't hear much from New Mexico. I don't know how much he has under wraps down there. Honestly, I think Montana State covers and wins by 10.
I was gonna say I think it's over.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna win by at least 11.
Yeah.
All right, we both are over. So
right now we're unison.
We're unison.
Yeah.
We think alike.
Okay, next we've got Nevada.
That's 25.
Playing
right?
host to SMU. I mean, it was 27.
27.
So SMU is favored by 27 points.
It is 25. Oh, it's bumped. Montana State is 11.5 now.
Oh, Montana State's 11.5. Okay, I still got them.
And then SMU's 25.
Okay, so SMU's gone down a little bit, 25. Mm-hmm. So SMU is favored by 25 points playing in Reno, Nevada. How do you feel about that one, Chase?
Nevada, I don't know. I feel like Nevada's always been kind of just like a kind of a sneaky team. I mean, I know they had their Colin Kaepernick years, which were dope.
But
I feel like Nevada's always kind of like middle of the pack for the Mountain West. I feel like they're always like a pretty decent team. I think, but we can do an ACC preview. But I think SMU's kind of getting overlooked in the ACC.
Yeah.
I think SMU is a really good team. They're coming off winning the American and instantly got the invite to come to the ACC, which I think is sweet, which is surprising, especially over some other teams in the American. I thought like Tulane.
Memphis,
they'd get pulled up before them.
Memphis has got basketball as well. It's fantastic. Yeah. And so I thought Memphis for sure was going to be the team that would
and then Tulane from since 2021's been like the Power 5 team, to where I think SMU might surprise people. I don't know.
They definitely could. SMU is a Power 5 program already. Yes. They have been for some time.
And they recruit like it.
It's
crazy. 25's a lot, though.
25 is
for the first game of the season.
For the first game of the season.
And Nevada's not like a bad team. Like if it was just like
it's also on the road.
If it was like a Sun Belt team, easy.
Yeah.
But I think
Mountain West is quality.
Mountain West it's a bloodbath every year.
Yeah.
It's a bloodbath in our online dynasty right now.
It is a bloodbath right now.
It is insane right now. But
I'm struggling.
He's coming off a tough couple losses.
I've had an emotional loss. I did rip one on Max, though. That was good. Beat Hawaii. Throttled them. But then I lost at UNLV. Connor got me pretty good.
Yeah, shout out our boys. But I think it's under. I think SMU wins. All right, SMU winning. But I think it'll be like 18, 17.
Yeah.
Around there. Like 3 touchdowns or like 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the over in this one.
Really?
Yeah, I think SMU has got so much momentum coming into the season. I think they're kind of ready to explode.
Differences here.
Yeah. I think there's so much hype around the SMU program. I don't know. I think they're going to cover that. I think they're going to beat by 4
I'd
scores.
love to see the Pony Express make it.
Pony Express,
that'd be sick. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
So we're indifferent now.
Yeah, we're indifferent.
We're indifferent. Also, shout out to SMU. They have some of the coolest uniforms, I will say.
Baby blue.
They have some dope uniforms. I'm surprised you don't like SMU.
I'm not a huge fan of SMU, no. I mean, I'm fine with them. I'm in the middle. But I'm not a huge fan of SMU.
Gotcha.
We have some history, BYU and SMU.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. All right, now
Miracle
jumping to Hawaii versus Delaware State. Hawaii's dropping a bag to have Delaware State fly 5,000 miles.
Yep.
And Hawaii's favored by 39.
Which is actually kind of crazy.
How do you let
Hawaii went 3-8 last?
When we posted that, we had some. Yeah, they were awful.
Yeah. So Delaware State.
Like, how do you let Hawaii get favored by 40, bro?
That's crazy. I don't know if they cover that.
That's like insane.
So Delaware State went around like 2-10 or 1-10 last year in the FCS. Yeah. So they're a bottom tier FCS team, but Hawaii is a bottom tier FBS team right now.
Yeah.
So
like there was like rumors that they were gonna like shut down football because it's like costs so
Delaware
much.
State.
No, Hawaii.
Hawaii. Oh yeah.
Because it costs so much to like because they go back and forth like every other week.
They do.
To where it's like dang.
And they're playing the Mountain West. They don't get the huge media deals. It's hard to
Now okay, let's put you in Delaware State's position, Chase. Picture yourself as a FCS Delaware State player. What are they? The Hornets?
Yeah.
Or the Jackets. The Jackets.
I don't know what it is.
They're red and blue. Anyways, imagine flying 5,000 miles, like a good probably 12 hours.
It's like a 10, 12-hour flight.
To Hawaii. And your kickoff time is midnight your time.
Midnight.
And it's like 6 there.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. How you feeling? How you feeling about that?
You forgot to add my flight's delayed. So I only have had a day and a half to acclimate.
Yeah. Probably, honestly.
No, that's what happened. Did you not see that? No, so Delaware State's flight got delayed, and the flight got canceled or something. Someone can correct me on this, but something happened to their flight, like just barely like yesterday, and so they're flying in today.
When's their game?
Saturday.
Oh, so they got a couple days.
Still, they're planning on flying in on like Monday. Dang. Because you gotta get acclimated to that time. Just the time alone. You don't want your players playing until 4 a.m.
Gosh, bro.
So they gotta.
Poor guys.
They only have like 2 days to complete and be able to play a full football game.
Yeah.
From 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. their own time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're afraid to add that. I'm feeling pretty scared, even though Hawaii is not the greatest team. I don't know.
Shout out Colt Brennan. Legend.
Timmy Chang.
So you got the over or the under then?
I actually think I have the under on this one.
I do too. I just don't see.
I see it being 42-10.
Like I don't see Hawaii scoring more than 45.
They have been an offensive heavy team, but I don't know, 45-10. That's a 35-point win. That's 4 points under the spread. So I think Delaware State covers that.
All right. I like the under too.
Yeah.
So The deciding factor for who's ahead after week 0 was SMU Nevada.
Yeah, I have SMU covering, beating them by more than 25.
I have it being like a 17, 20 point game.
He has Nevada covering.
Yeah.
SMU still winning.
I just see like them pull. I think it's gonna be like 27 points. You're covering, and then SMU will pull their starters out, and Nevada will go down and score
Get
like
a field goal,
a last minute.
Dang it!
Touchdown.
This happens in the game, dude.
That's true.
Happens in the game
I'm up
a lot.
50, and the other offense turns into like the prime Chiefs for a second. Man, that was sick, dude. All right.
Prime Chiefs. Yeah,
It's like Patrick Mahomes' 13-second drive. I'm like, oh, sick, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
That's super cool.